Hey neighbor, today we're out here where we're growing our Jimmy Red field corn. Now, if you know anything about Jimmy Red, you know it's an absolutely wonderful field corn. It's one of our favorites. We grow this field corn, we grind it up for cornmeal and grits. The distilleries love it for making bourbon out of it. It's really known as a high-end corn to make bourbon out of for distilleries. It is a red corn. We think it is a strain of the Bloody Butcher, but from what everybody has told me is they have tested the oil content and it's very rich in oil. Of course, it has that deep red color. We like to grind it, keep it in the freezer. We have grits and cornmeal all the time. It is the best tasting cornmeal or grits you have ever eaten. Words just really can't describe how good and how rich and the flavor of these cornmeal and grits that you get out of it. We can only assume it's due to the oil content. You know, we know the color of corns and things like that have really rich antioxidants, but not only does this have the antioxidants, but it's the flavor is so profound that words really can't explain it unless you've tried it. Anybody that I've ever seen eat Jimmy Red cornbread, they was just blown away. And that's the reason we love this corn, is because of its rich history and because of its flavor. We grow this last year in this field. We had a failure growing this Jimmy Red corn. We had what you call lodging. Now, lodging is where the stalk or the root system gets weak and we get a windstorm and it blows it over. Now, we ended up salvaging a little bit of this crop last year, but we lost a good bit of it because of lodging. We have changed our growing practice a little bit this year to try to take care of that issue, and I want to go over that with you today, some of the secrets of growing heirloom seed corns. Well, you know, sometimes you know things and you forget it. Well, I have known for years that these heirloom corns was really drought resistant and easy to grow, because I've been growing Hickory, King, and Jimmy Red for quite a while in little bitty small plots. But we started growing our own bigger plots of seed corn or field corn for seed, and particularly this Jimmy Red here. We wanted to utilize and get as much out of it as we could, just like most people do, and we overdid it last year. We tried to grow this corn, we tried to push it too much, and we had that lodging issue where the storm come through here and just blowed this corn down. It was very disheartening. But looking back after it happened, we was pretty sure we knew what had happened. And plus, I had talked to some people that had been growing this for a long time in these bigger fields. And I got some good information back that I really already knew. These heirloom field corns are not racehorses. Our newer varieties of corn that just about everybody plants nowadays are really bred up. They have a lot of vigor to them. You can plant them thick, you can fertilize them heavy, you can water them heavy, and man, they just produce like crazy. You'll hear some people making 300 bushel to the acre up in the west, Midwest out there on some of these hybrid field corns here, where they really can just get the plant density in there. They can really fertilize them. Man, they can just push them. These old heirloom field corns are not thoroughbreds. They're old working mules. You can't push them too much. They're nice and steady. They're workhorses, but you just can't get a lot out of them at one time. They're just going to stay the course. And that being said, we had to change our seed density on this right here. We had to plant it further apart. Last year, we planted around 26,000 seeds to the acre. This year, we brought that back down to 20,000 seed to the acre. We got our spacing in between rows at 36 inches, which is pretty much a good standard on any corn plant. That means I'm 36 inches in between here. In row spacing, we changed dramatically with our seed density. You'll see these stalks here are anywhere from 8 to 14 inches apart. And we spread that out so we could get a lot deeper, healthier, stronger root system there, and also a thicker, heavier stalk that can withstand some wind there. We changed it to 20,000 seeds per acre. And that works out to about 400 to 500 seeds per 1,000 square feet. So we changed that around. We also changed to fertility. You can't overload these heirloom varieties. You got to grow them a little bit slower. You just can't pump the nitrogen to them. Last year we was at 230 or 230 units per acre. This year we backed that off to 150 units per acre. Now that works out to about 3.5 units per 1,000 square feet for you guys growing on little bitty smaller plots. These corns just do not react well or not grow off well with a lot of nitrogen. What happens is we get really spindly stalks here because we push them too far. Another thing is water. Growing the old heirloom corns, I realized this a long time ago with my Hickory King that I used to love to grow so much. These things are just really drought resistant. They won't twist up when they get a little dry like the new hybrids will. When we see a hybrid corn twist up, man, first thing, we've got to get some water to it quick. These old heirlooms won't do that, but when they do stress a little bit, we like for them to stress. It's best to let them stress a little bit and let that root system grow out and search for that moisture and create a lot denser, tighter root system there. Now, we've got a center pivot on this field here, but we're not using it near like we did last year. We're letting this corn stretch out and stress, and this corn did because we had such a dry spring. You can see it starting to tassel right now. If we don't get some rain in a few days, it's fixing to get in a very crucial state where it's starting to put on that ear. Now, we probably will make sure it's got enough moisture at that time so we can make a good ear. But we love to stress this corn to that point here, and this corn has stressed and it's still looking real good. From the looks of things to me, we've got a lot stronger stalk and a lot stronger root system this year. And the hope is when we get those windstorms, because you know we're going to get them, this corn is going to be able to withstand that wind and stand up because we've got such a strong plant there. Lodging is a common thing we see with sweet corn and field corn from home gardeners because most home gardeners don't have a very big plot. And when that windstorm comes through, the wind works on it more than it does these bigger fields here, because we got a little bit of a break when we got these bigger fields to help break that down, and we have those smaller areas, it tends to have more of an issue on our smaller plots. But it can happen to anybody. A lot of times when we see falling over a sweet corn, if it's not too bad, the sun will come back and dry it back up. But now we're going to machine harvest this right here with the combine, and we don't need this falling over because our combine's going to have a problem going through there getting it up like we did last year. With these field corns here, we just got to grow them a little bit different. We got to treat them a little bit different to have a good, healthy crop. We're growing these heirloom field corns for seed. Contamination of the seed, cross-pollination, or being contaminated with the GMO gene is really important for us. According to the book, you need about a half a mile isolation on these varieties from any other corn to keep them from getting contaminated. Our biggest issue is GMO corns. We don't want our old heirloom corn contaminated with the GMO corn. So according to the book, we need a half a mile. Well, we always try to get a mile, and I'm talking about the way the crow flies, just to make sure they don't get contaminated. Now, there's a lot of people out there that talk about GMOs all the time. My biggest concern with GMO corns is the contamination of our seed pool of our old heirloom varieties. I think, for me, that is the biggest issue there. And if we got somebody that plants GMO right down the road, even if it's on their land, it can contaminate our crop here. And to me, that's kind of that's just a bad thing there when somebody else can do something that's going to affect me on my land. And that's the reason I don't like the GMOs, is because of that contamination there. But we plant this at least a mile away from any other GMO corn. And another thing we do is when we get this corn harvested, we will send it to Iowa State to get it tested for GMO contamination. There's just a few labs in the United States that test for that, and we will send it off and have it tested to make sure it's clean and free and pure, and then we'll get a good germ test on it before we start cleaning it and putting it available for sale. Now, I think these heirloom corns are fun to grow, and they're absolutely wonderful to eat. It's a great food source here for the home gardener. Just don't try to overdo it with these field corns, these old heirlooms. Just kind of do it like our forefathers did. You know, you can grow these on dry land. They actually perform better on dry land, as long as we get a little rain here and there, than they do on really irrigated land. If we see it stressing out, it's tasseling, we'll water it, but otherwise we just don't water these a whole lot. We just let them do our things. It's that old workhorse variety that our forefathers grew on dry land. It produced and did well for them. So from a home gardener standpoint, I think this is one of the easiest corns to grow. And I think it's a wonderful food source that we can have going into our wintertime all year long. It's a good wholesome grain and it's absolutely delicious.